The neighbor knew. Everyone knew. Only he had no idea. Hey, I'm Manuel. Today I've got one with a bit of dark humor, if you can laugh at these things. And honestly, sometimes without humor you just can't digest it. Small town, big gossip, and one man who was the last person in the world to know the truth about his own life. Let's get into it. There's a small town, we'll call it Villa Roblo, though the real place is different. The kind of place where everybody knows everybody, where news travels faster than Wi-Fi, where if you sneeze in the morning, by evening the whole street knows you've caught a cold and someone brings you honey and lemon. There's a man there, let's call him Juan, 60 years old, retired, used to work in agriculture. His wife, Maria, also retired. Together 31 years. Their kids moved to the city. They live in their little house, vegetable garden, chickens, everything homegrown. And for 3 years now, his wife, Maria, has been going to the doctor in the city once or twice a week. Juan's happy for her. Good, she's looking after her health. Sometimes even drives her to the bus stop. And in that city, Maria has a friend. We'll call him Sebastian, an old acquaintance from her youth, widowed a few years ago. And well, one thing led to another. The key to this whole thing is that in Villa Roble, everyone knew. The neighbor Encarna knew because she once saw Maria getting off the bus with a man, not from the direction of any doctor, from the other side of town entirely. Her friend Remedios knew because Maria had let something slip once, and Remedios, of course, told no one. Meaning she told no one who mattered. She did mention it to 2 or 3 friends, in confidence. The woman who runs the local bar knew because Encarna told her. The woman's husband knew because wives talk at home. Even the local priest knew, but he, of course, stayed silent as was his duty. In other words, the entire village, from 20 to 80 years old, knew about Maria and Sebastian. Only Juan had no idea, and this creates a strange situation. People run into Juan, have conversations with him, and everyone has the same thought in their head. Poor Juan, he doesn't know, and nobody tells him. Because, how? It's awkward. It's their business. Maybe he suspects and doesn't want to know. Maybe you shouldn't get involved. 3 years, nobody said a word, until a birthday party happened. Encarna was turning 65. She gathered everyone. Juan was invited too. Maria that particular day had gone to the doctor, so Juan came alone. They drank, they talked. And then, no one knows exactly how it happened, one of the guests, Nicolas, a direct kind of man and already several drinks in, suddenly said, "Juan, do you know your Maria is seeing Sebastian? The Sebastian from the other side of town." Silence. Encarna frantically gestured at Nicolas to shut up. Everyone else stared at their plates. Juan was quiet, then asked slowly, "How long?" Nicolas, not yet understanding what he'd done, "Oh, about 3 years at least." Juan put his glass down on the table, thanked the host, stood up, and left. Encarna spent a good while tearing into Nicolas afterwards, but Nicolas made a fair point. How much longer were we supposed to keep quiet? 3 years, everyone knowing and saying nothing? The man was living in the dark. At home, Juan sat and waited for Maria to come back. She arrived at 7 in the evening. She saw his face and understood immediately. Juan asked, "Is it true?" She sat down, nodded. He asked, "Do you love him?" She was quiet, then said, "I don't know. I think so." Juan stood up, got his jacket, and walked out of the house, on foot. He walked through the fields all night. Neighbors saw him. Several wanted to approach, but understood the man needed to be alone. In the morning he came back, cold, quiet. He told Maria, "Pack your things and go to him, or stay, but then it's over. Choose." Maria cried, said she didn't want to go anywhere, that she was happy here, that Sebastian was nothing serious, that she loved Juan, that it had been a stupid mistake. Juan listened, then said, "Maria, 3 years. 3 years the whole town knew, only I didn't. Do you think that's nothing serious?" They divorced. The house was sold and split. Juan took his share and moved to his son's place in the city. Maria stayed in Villa Roble. She never actually went to live with Sebastian. Turns out he wasn't that keen on her moving in either. There's a difference between seeing someone a few times a month and actually living together. Maria ended up alone. The neighbors, of course, felt sorry for her. Encarna, who'd loved the gossip so much, now told everyone quietly, "Well, you can see where that kind of thing leads." And Juan? Juan's in the city, lives with his son, helps with the grandkids. Says, first of all, he had no idea grandchildren were such a joy. And second, for the first time in years, he sleeps peacefully. You know, he said to his son one day, the worst part isn't what she did. The worst part is that I was the last to find out. That everyone around me was thinking, oh, he doesn't know. That's what gets you. That's the humiliation. And I asked myself, why did people keep quiet for 3 years? Out of respect? Out of fear? Because it was none of their business. Maybe sometimes you have to say the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's better for someone to know than to live inside a beautiful lie. Although everyone chooses for themselves. Until next time. Subscribe and tell me in the comments, would you have said something or stayed silent?